Okay, guys, this is the third and final video on how to fortify your home or whatever you're doing. We've already discussed the cost of the supplies to surround your home. Obviously, you can work with my numbers. I think they're probably going to be pretty universal anywhere in at least America, where you're paying about $1.50 for a cinder block and roughly right around $5 to $6 for a treated 10-foot 2x4. So we're probably looking at about the same prices everywhere, and then $3 to $4 bag of concrete. So you can plug in your own numbers to figure out exactly how big you'd want to make it or how small. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about the second thing you can do, and it's actually going to be a really fun one, I think, anyway. And I actually was my brother-in-law and I were coming up with this idea, and we thought that it was a pretty reasonably good one. But a moat going around your property. Like, let's say, for instance, that I have already built my wall. I've got my wall going around. Okay, so my wall is 100 foot by 100 feet. Sorry, 100 feet by 100 feet. Okay, so my wall is 100 feet by 100 feet. So I've got my nice, square wall going around my property. Little house in the middle. Okay. Now I want to give myself extra precaution. I'm tired of zombies coming up and slapping up against the side of it, and then I'm having to kind of get over and lean over and stick them with a spear, shoot them, whatever I'm going to do with them. But it's getting a little annoying because now I'm having to jump onto the other side of the wall and drag them away from the wall and then set them on fire and burn the bodies, do all that kind of stuff. So I started thinking about, well, what if you were to, on your extra time, on downtime, you have a couple of guys, and obviously I have 3 brother-in-laws, so we would all be able to join in on this. On your downtime, have 1, maybe 2 guys, just kind of standing guard, ready with their guns and their whatever, and then the 2 guys that are working, obviously, always keep a weapon on you. Like I said, I highly recommend a katana or a machete or something like that, as you've seen in my other videos. But you have shovels, and you just start digging. And obviously, like I said, this is going to take time. But you're doing 2 things. You are slowly building your defenses up, and you are actually giving yourself the exercise, which we have talked about in previous videos. So you're going to get exercise, and you're going to, sit there just all day, just getting dirt, throwing it out. Okay, so the thought process we had was roughly a 6 foot wide by 6 foot deep moat going all the way around your property. Well, obviously, that you got 100 foot by 100 feet. Keep doing that. 100 foot by feet. Okay, 100 feet by 100 feet. So obviously you're going to have to extend that more. Let's go ahead and say that you want this to be about 5 feet off of your wall. So you've got 100 feet, plus you need to go another additional 5 feet. So you've got to have, it's going to be 110 feet from the inside corners to from the inside corner to the inside corner of this moat. Now to go 6 feet out, you have to add an additional 12 feet. So you've got 122 feet by 122 feet. So that makes it bigger, so it's going to take time. But once you're completed, you got yourself a nice good moat. Now, I'm not talking about a moat where you would actually fill it up with water. I wouldn't recommend that. I obviously don't. I've seen quite a few zombie movies. Some zombies float, some zombies sink. They say the dead things float, so I have to go ahead and tend to agree with the idea that if someone is dead and not breathing, they're probably floating. With any oxygen that's trapped inside their lungs, or the fact that they're just rotting flesh and for some reason they float. Anyway, so the idea is that you would end up, you'd have your moat going all the way around, or your hole, whatever you want to call it. And then at that point, now that you've got this dug out, and this, like I said, this is going to take a long time to do, you got it dug out and everything, what you do is you start lining it with basically 2x4s on the inside. You start lining it with 2x4s going all the way around the outside, all the way around the inside, and then you slap up, at this point, like I said in the last video, you slap up Durock. Durock, the reason why I recommend Durock is because it's weather resistant. You can have Durock in the rain, you can have it, whenever it's nice and sunny, you can have it out pretty much any day, and unlike wood, it won't warp. So you have it out there. You screwed up and you've got it going all the way around now. Now what you're going to do is you're going to fill it all up with cement. And so what I would recommend before you do that, though, is once you have all those sheets going around, you put steel rods into the ground, good 10-foot steel rods into the ground by a couple of feet, so that whenever you pour the concrete in there, the concrete will have something to grab onto, which will hold it to the ground as well. Now you do the annoying part, which is going to be the floor. Start pouring in cement and start getting yourself a base. In this kind of situation, you can actually use what's called floater. Floater is expensive, guys. It is extremely expensive, but in a zombie apocalypse, then this is kind of the last option, and once again, option being the key word there. Floater is not going to. I'm sorry, float is not going to be expensive. It's going to be free. And the beauty of float is that you mix it up nice and thin, and you just pour it, and it self levels. So you just keep letting it, just keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that. And if you at the time, if you find any kind of concrete truck, I would recommend using it. But just let it self-level itself, and then you can get a good layer of concrete going over it. Just 2, maybe 3 inches thick layer of concrete going, and then once you've done this, like I said, this is going to take time. This is definitely time. This is something you do whenever you have extra time. We're talking about you're preparing to live in this home for the rest of your life. So you fill it around with, you have this thing now, this moat lined with concrete on the floor and on the sides. Whenever zombies come by, what are they going to do? They're not going to jump it, they're going to fall in. So they fall in. Whether they die because their head hits the concrete and it destroys the brain, or they fall, they break something, or just are perfectly fine. They get up, they can't get out now, they're inside. So you don't really do much. You just kind of let them sit around in the moat. What are they going to do? They can't climb out, they can't do anything, so you just kind of let them chill in there. Well, as more zombies come, you kind of let them fall in and fall in. And once you have yourself a decent little crowd in there, you just kind of walk by and sprinkle a little bit of lighter fluid over a couple of them and then drop a lit match. You don't have to go in there and burn them yourself. You just throw something in there that'll burn them for you, and they'll just cook. They have the concrete right there, so the concrete is going to keep the fire from getting out. And if you wanted, you could build the wall on your side of the home. You could actually build another cinder block wall going around that's maybe 3 feet, just to keep fire from getting on the grass or anything, or you can just destroy the grass right there. Who cares? So anyway, that's kind of the idea, is that once you've done that, you don't even have to worry about cleanup anymore. You just light it and let them burn. But once again, guys, I cannot stress this point enough. This is just an absolute, if you've got nothing else to do, if you are bored, if you're whatever, this is an excellent thing to do. You just sit back, relax, and you say, oh, look, another one fell in. Strike up a lighter or a match or something like that, and just kind of toss it in and let them burn. So that's the other form of defense that we were talking about, and the beauty of it is that it not only keeps zombies at bay, but you're also talking about other people now. Obviously, somebody coming, if you have a well-fortified wall like that, and you have people who are constantly on guard and stuff, it's going to be hard for people to get in. The best thing that they're going to have to get in is to ram your wall and hopefully break a hole through it. Well, with a giant 6-foot moat going around, 6-foot wide moat, a truck or some kind of vehicle or something like that they plan on is going to go right inside, and it's going to crash, and it's not going to be able to hit your wall. So there are definitely upsides to having this, aside from just keeping zombies out. It actually can help to keep people out. Now, the downside obviously being the fact that a human can jump 6 feet, generally speaking. I'm not trying to be mean, but heavier set people are not going to be able to do it as well. So if someone is physically fit, or at least in relatively decent shape, they'll most likely be able to jump that 6 foot gap. But obviously this leaves them at a huge disadvantage, because you are on an 8-foot wall looking down at them, and if they're having to jump across, they're completely defenseless at that point. And so it makes them very vulnerable to be jumping across. The beauty of this design also is that in a lot of designs where people are kind of higher up, or they have to climb over something, they're being chased by zombies. Now, we all know that there are different types of zombies. There are going to be runners, walkers, and sitters. Sitters are obviously the zombies that don't really do much. They kind of just sit around, don't do anything until they get agitated and something catches their eye and they want it. Then they'll get up. And then at this point, they can either be walkers or runners. You don't really know, because you don't know the extent of the damage. Are they able to kind of get a run going? Are they only walking? Or there's the possibility that they're sitting because they don't have legs or they have no use of the legs, so they're more like crawlers. Then there are going to be walkers who generally just kind of stumble about and move really slow, and then there are runners who are going to be able to kind of get a little bit of speed. Well, let's say you're being chased by about 25 runners. These runners they're able to move a little bit faster. They're not able to probably pull off a full sprint, but they're able to move, so you're having to be able to outrun them. But at this point, they're not going to be coordinated. They can't jump. This run is about as coordinated as it gets. You run, you jump across to the other side of the moat. Where they come, they fall right in. So it definitely gives you an advantage to have that moat there. It gives you the protection of you don't have to worry about getting somewhere and then climbing up a ladder, or having to jump a fence or something like that. You literally just have to jump from one side to the other, and your moat does the rest for you. So it's definitely a good defense against both the undead and people who are actually alive who are a little crazy, which I will end up bringing up another video in just a little bit, probably in the next couple of days, which is going to describe the different type of people that are going to be in the zombie apocalypse, and why you should look out for some of them while others could possibly be trusted a little bit more. The only reason I'm really kind of working on this, and I haven't really gone into it, is that my brother-in-law and I are actually huge zombie fanatics. I mean, we love the idea of it. We're constantly talking about it. We're constantly doing stuff about it. And it's not so much the idea that, we came up with a theory, and we're sure most people have as well, is not the idea that you really get into a situation where your friends and family are the walking dead, and, they're going around and killing people, and it's not so much that as it is getting back to the basics of humanity. You are talking about having to survive now. This is not a world where you survive by getting a job, a 9-to-5 job, or whatever kind of job you get, whatever hours you get. We're not talking about, you survive by paying bills. We're talking about you survive because you do something to survive. You want food? Go out and get it. This isn't, I didn't put in enough hours today, so I can't buy food, so we're just going to chill out, or we're just going to use... No, you want to live, you've got to go get your food. You may have to walk into the woods and kill something for your food. You might have to go raid an empty store and survive the zombies, or whatever the case is. The point is it's getting back to the basics. It's getting back to survival instincts. You have to work for surviving now. Not, work just to live in a home, or working, you actually have to work just to survive. That's kind of our theory on why the zombie apocalypse is cool. So we really, we just like the idea of the zombies and everything like that, so that's kind of how we've run off with this. But the idea of this whole deal is just, it's getting back to the basics. But what I was saying before is the reason why I'm making all of these videos and everything is because people should be prepared for any kind of disaster situation. And the truth is if you're ready for the zombie apocalypse, you're probably ready for any kind of apocalypse, with the exception of the world literally being destroyed. Which in that case, no amount of canned goods or water will ever help you. You'll just be dead like the rest of us. So we're actually working on a survival guide. We're actually, making our own little guide and everything. And if we actually complete it, it's only going to be about 8, maybe 9 chapters long. But we're trying to get into each chapter, kind of giving people an idea of what they should be using, that kind of thing, and giving it like a rating. A 1 to 5 rating on how good it is and everything. And if we end up actually completing, which I think we will, we've gotten, like I said, I believe we have 2 chapters done and are actually working on the 3rd, and then we'll get it proofread and then hopefully published. And if it actually does end up happening, then we're going to, then I'll definitely show it to you guys. And we actually were talking about maybe doing like a little bit like a YouTube contest or something where people come up with like a, like a zombie apocalypse survivals deal, and we'll kind of come up with, like the ground rules of it, and then whoever wants to can just reply to the video where we show our guide, and whoever has the best video, we'll just send them a survival guide and, like a paracord bracelet and that kind of thing, kind of make it where it's you get something just for kind of having fun. But anyway, alright guys, well, I am running out of time, so I've got to get going. Like I said, in the next couple of days I'd like to have a video up describing the different type of people that you're going to run into in the zombie apocalypse, and which ones to watch out for, and which ones you could possibly join up with. So, alright guys, well, y'all take it easy, and I'm heading out.